Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. No TikTok this morning. Didn't feel like doing TikTok this morning. What's going on, everybody? Followed you over from the TikTok. What's up, Letty Davis? How you doing? What's going on, everybody? Everyone say hello in the chat. See if let me put a super chat goal here. Helps push the live. My morning was all right. My morning was okay. Tired. Was tired this morning. I'll be back on TikTok tomorrow morning. Coffee wasn't the same. Yeah, sorry. I'll be back on TikTok tomorrow. What's going on, everybody? So we do have a bit of news. Let's break into that a little bit. Let's break into that just to start with. The judge has thrown out both cases against James Comey and Letitia James. James Comey and Letitia James. We all know those were politically motivated attacks against his political opponents. So, they definitely were. Sorry, I had to reply to an email there. But both cases were thrown out because the prosecutor who brought those cases was unlawfully appointed as the interim U.S. attorney. So she was put in her position without the required legal process. So she had no authority to bring these charges or sign these indictments. Her appointment is invalid. Everything she did, not just this, but including indicting James Comey and Letitia James, is void. Pretty much everything. So that forces the dismissal of those cases. I'm happy for them because those are politically motivated. Both of them are politically motivated. Chevy, thank you for the $5 super chat. Glad you took the morning off. Thank you for being on, sir. Thanks, Chevy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I had to take the morning off. I just tired. That reminds me, I gotta post on Discord here that I'm live. Let's open up the phone lines here to Trump supporters. We also obviously have the stuff with Ukraine and Russia, which I haven't been keeping up with a crazy amount this morning. But I do not think that deal was signed, so it probably stands where it is. Zelensky, I do see there's a live update here that Zelensky issues a flurry of thanks to world leaders after Trump criticism. Yeah, well, Trump basically said if you don't accept this 28-point peace plan, that you're on your own. That you are on your own. And I know they got hit with an attack either this morning or last night during ongoing negotiations. So that's going to be an ugly situation. And it's funny because somebody actually posted on my YouTube channel, and they're like, yeah, why would the United States be worried about what's happening in Europe. I was like, do you need a fucking history lesson? And then he replies, Americans should not be fighting with Russians. Americans aren't fighting with Russians. Okay? But if Russia takes Ukraine, they will be. That much I can guarantee you, they will be. All right, let's open the phone lines. If you're a Trump supporter, give a call in. Let's hear you call in here. Oh no, you were tricking me. You were tricking me. You said you support Trump for president. I thought you said you supported Trump. Gumball Dolphins, thank you for the $49.99 super chat. Happy holidays to you too, Gumball Dolphins. That's quite the name. I appreciate you, Gumball. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Seriously, that's really nice. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate the support. This guy says, you know you're trash for this stance. Why don't you call in Taz5555? Tell me why I'm trash for this stance. Call in 908-652-3703. If you are a Trump supporter, you can explain to me, why am I trash for that stance? I'm actually curious. Why am I trash for that stance? What the hell? What the hell? Why am I trash for that stance? That I think the United States should be supporting Ukraine? Do you guys understand the consequences here? Do you understand what happens if Russia takes Ukraine? Let me explain why this deal is problematic, and it's problematic for a number of reasons. But number one, it significantly weakens their economic viability. Ukraine, as a part of this 28-point peace plan, has to surrender I don't even know what the percentage is, because I don't think that's been outlined specifically, but I know Russia controls over 80% of the Donbass region, and I know the deal requires over 50%. Regardless, you're talking about a 50% minimum surrender of the Donbass region. This is the economic, right, and industrial heartland of the country. They will not be able to recover economically without significant international support. That makes them more vulnerable, not less vulnerable. Number two, there's military restrictions. Russia wants a 600,000 cap on military troops. Ukraine sits currently at about 750 roughly thousand. Slightly elevated because there's a war going on, but 750,000. You're talking about a significant reduction in troops. So they'll have a tough time fighting off future threats. What else? God, there's so much stuff that's problematic in there. Oh, mass amnesty for all war crimes to Russia. The West must lift all sanctions. Creating a buffer zone. This is supposed to prevent future conflict. This buffer zone that will be controlled Russian territory. It's a surrender. It's nothing. That's all it is. It's literally a surrender. XJG, thank you for the GG, appreciate it. And the tendrils, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, XJG. Appreciate it. If you guys are a Trump supporter, would appreciate calling in. Give me your take at 908-652-3703. All you need to do is pick up your phone line. Pick up your phone, call in, and give me your take. Somebody said, who said anything about isolationism? I don't remember bringing up isolationism, but isolationism caused World War II, so I don't think that's a good idea there. Amy Cat, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Hope you have a great holiday. Thank you so much, Amy. I will be streaming up until Thanksgiving, so you guys will be able to see me
Call
there.
from
Ronnie.
Ronnie, are you a Trump supporter?
I am.
Okay, Ronnie. And why are you a Trump supporter? What are your thoughts on this Russia and Ukraine conflict and Donald Trump's 28-point peace plan.
Well, can I ask you a question first?
Sure.
Are you a Trump supporter? Or,
No.
Are you against Trump, or what's going on?
Yes, I do not think Trump is good for the United States.
All right.
That's it? That's it? You didn't want to talk to me? What happened there, dude? Okay, if you are a Trump supporter that actually wants to have a conversation back and forth, and look, you do not have to discuss politics at a very high level. You can just tell me why you support Trump, surface level, if you want, and I will take the call.
Call from Jacobs Mobile Auto Repair.
Yeah, no, we're not taking calls from Jacobs Repair, whatever that is. Can I ask you something real quick? Are you a Trump supporter? Are you one of us? No. Goodbye. No interest in talking to you if you ain't a red hat.
Call from Jacobs Mobile Auto Repair.
Yes. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Okay, are you not a Trump supporter?
No, can you take me off Bluetooth, though?
Oh, sorry, you're not on Bluetooth. Just on. Is that better?
Yeah, it just sounds kind of like staticky, but okay, go ahead. No, I'm not a Trump supporter. Like, for instance, I don't like this peace plan with Ukraine and Russia. I called this before the election. This would be a consequence of Donald Trump eventually surrendering to Russia. It's literally what's happening.
What about the border?
What about it? Do you support mass deportation?
Of immigrants? Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because they're illegal immigrants.
So, but I mean, so when I talk about mass deportation, I like to refer to the fact that it costs billions of dollars to remove people. Mass deportation is not free, you understand. So it costs a lot of money, right? A lot of money. Billions, if not trillions of dollars if conducted long enough. And by the way, they haven't been overwhelmingly successful to justify spending that amount of money. But regardless, you have to provide me some justification for spending that amount of money, right? That's a burden for the American taxpayer. What's the justification for removing all of those people? What are they doing? Is it just because they broke the law?
Lowering the crime rates in the cities.
Okay, lowering the crime rates. So
no, the first thing they do when they get into the country is they commit a crime.
So you're going to be
here illegally.
disingenuous and include the potential misdemeanor, right, in this case? And not necessarily, by the way, but let's say a misdemeanor. So your standard, let me just get this straight.
Illegal entry is not a...
So illegal entry is a misdemeanor. So let me get this straight. So your standard is people must follow the law. Your standard is the law, correct?
Not necessarily.
Didn't you just say, that's reason to spend billions of dollars to remove people is because they broke the law? That's, a crime, and that's why we need to remove them?
If you want my honest opinion, I don't like immigrants, so...
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get to, right? They're committing a misdemeanor. Okay, it's simply a misdemeanor. You voted for a convicted felon. So I find it hard to believe you give...
He wasn't convicted. They weren't.
He was convicted in the state of New York.
He was convicted in civil court.
No.
It was a civil court matter.
No, he wasn't. No, he's a convicted felon in the state of New York.
He was never convicted of a felon.
Okay, so, Guy, would I sit up here and lie if I do this every day? He's convicted in the state of New York. He received what's called an unconditional discharge 10 days before the inauguration. Donald Trump is a convicted felon in New York. We're not going to dispute facts that you can Google in 5 seconds and see that I'm right and you're wrong. Would you like to look it up really quick? Just go to your phone.
How do you feel?
Hold on. Go to your
Hold
phone.
on, hold on. How do you
Hold
feel?
on
How
a
do you
second.
feel about the?
Hold on a second.
How do you feel about the niggers?
Hold on a second. Are you just going to be a clown? You know you're calling from your business phone, right? And you're dropping slurs in front of people? Like, you realize your name
not a
is on
business
here,
phone.
right? You called from your phone number?
I don't give a fuck about
Is
it.
I don't think that's too smart of an idea there, to be dropping slurs when you're calling from your little mobile repair business. I don't think that's a really good idea. If I was you, I wouldn't do that. That's probably not that smart, my guy. It's probably not that smart. But very typical of Trump supporters to not know Donald Trump is a convicted felon. To not know that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Yes, Trump supporters, of course. Of course. So if you are a Trump supporter and you want to have a conversation, right, and you want to tell me why you support Donald Trump, you don't have to be super informed. You just have to accept facts. When I tell you Donald Trump's a convicted felon, you can't say no and then crash out because you know you're wrong, right? Just like accept the fact.
Call from
Jake.
Jake, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay, Jake, why are you a Trump? What do you? Do you want to talk about Ukraine? What's happening with Ukraine here? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts on the whole Ukraine thing is, honestly, I think it ought to be ended. Like, very soon. I think, yes, I am.
Okay, but do you agree with Trump's effort to do this, like with the 28-point peace plan? Do you know anything about like what this involves?
Not really. I'm not. All right. So the thing is about Trump with me is, if I were to vote for anyone out of this recent election, it would have been Trump. But I'm not really liking Trump as much this turn. But I do still support some of the things he does.
Do you support the fact that he's worked to keep the Epstein files from the American people? Is that something? Since you can't talk about the peace plan, what about that?
Not in particular, no. But I think that Joe Biden could have released them. Anyone who has been president since Epstein did all that stuff, and since Epstein, got rid of himself, I think that anyone could have released it since then he was president. So I don't think everyone should just blame Trump,
Actually, they should, because what you just said is incorrect. Biden couldn't have released them. There was a number of different reasons, but they were sealed under federal court orders, protecting the rights of the trafficking victims, including minors. Okay. So there was also the appeal of Ghislaine Maxwell was ongoing, which kept it sealed as well. So even if he had released it, it largely would have been redacted. So no, the Biden administration could not.
Which is what's going to happen if Trump releases them. Correct? They're going to be redacted.
Because
They're not going to be fully
Trump.
out.
No, because Trump's not releasing them. They passed what's called the Epstein Transparency Act through Congress, which passed with only one nay vote in the House and unanimous consent in the Senate. That forces the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files in their full, although there is provisions targeted towards redacting like certain victims' names and certain information that could affect their privacy. Like, for instance, you're not going to see a video of someone being abused in those files. That would be redacted. But just the entire case being redacted, including people who committed this category of crime, no. You will see those names in the files if they're in there.
Well, it's a good point, honestly. But what I'm thinking about is the fact that another thing is that it might not just be all Trump. I think there are other people who might be preventing him from releasing such files,
Mm-hmm.
You never know. I mean, we can't see what's going on behind the scenes. We can only see what they're allowing us to see.
Well, in the sense that
He is
anything is
the highest.
possible. Well, in the sense that anything is possible, yeah, I mean, certainly. But I can tell you why, like, for me personally, I feel like it was done with very selfish intentions, because you don't do the things Donald Trump did unless there's damning evidence about you in there, because it made him look bad, right? It made him look pretty damn bad. I think Trump supporters were in support of him, pretty convinced he wasn't in there prior to the election. Once he gets in there and he starts telling people it's a hoax, stop talking about it, Epstein's deceased, why are we still discussing this? Those things made him look incredibly guilty, sending his deputy attorney general to sit down with the convicted sex offender who can rat him out, Ghislaine Maxwell, prior to her testimony in front of the Oversight Committee, trying to convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition, the FBI claiming that no young girls were trafficked to anyone but Epstein himself. Just really a lot of information that I think pissed a lot of people off. But regardless, they're going to be hopefully they're going to be released now. And if they come out and they're a dud, hopefully the American people understand that's because this administration doesn't want you to see them. But we'll see what happens. You know, and really, I can't say for sure because nothing would surprise me at this point. But by law, they're supposed to release them. If it says Donald Trump was aware of it and didn't do anything about it, are you still going to support him?
Possibly. More than likely. Well, I don't really know. As I said earlier, I'm not really liking Trump as much as I did first election.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Have a good one. If you are a Trump supporter, please call in 908-652-3703. If you still support Donald Trump, 10 toes down. If you'd like to discuss the 28-point peace plan between Ukraine and Russia, if you'd like to discuss the Epstein files, let's go. Let's talk about the dismissal of Letitia James and James Comey cases, which were absolutely Trump trying to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after perceived political opponents, which has now been dismissed. And that's that. Man, you think around the holidays, Trump supporters would be like in a better mood, but they're not. They're still just...
Call from
Jerry.
Jerry, are you a Trump supporter, Jerry?
Sort of.
And what does that mean, Jerry? You're not trying to do this as a way to deflect, right? If I bring information up, well, I'm not really a supporter.
I was a supporter. I'll be honest with you, my friend. The only thing I support him on right now is that he's sort of uniting, the left and the right against the Israel cause,
He's uniting the left and the right against who?
Against the Israel cause.
Against Israel?
Yeah, sort of. You think about
what?
It, you have the right to, because lately I have seen Cenk Uygur, or what's his name, the guy from the Young Turks, and Anna Kasparian. They're interviewing each other with Tucker Carlson, and they support each other in that regard, sort of, So,
you mean you don't mean intentionally, you mean unintentionally.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in. I don't disagree with you there. That absolutely is happening. But that's not really something he's doing. I guess that's not really that's not a pro-Trump stance. That's more or less something you wanted to see come true and happening under this administration because his unwavering loyalty is to Benjamin Netanyahu. Better mood on Christmas. Islamists plan to stop that in New York. What are you talking about, Io? That's not true. Stop fear-mongering. Letty Land, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Your level of patience requires a certain personality. Thank you for putting in the work. Thank you, Letty. Appreciate you so much for the $4.99 super chat. If you are a Trump supporter, you want to tell me why you still support Donald Trump at this point, call in 908-652-3703. I'd be interested to know why you still support him 10 toes down with everything that's going on right now. Are you not tired of your unwavering support? I mean, when it comes to the Epstein files in particular, I mean, he basically laughed in your face. I mean, it couldn't be any worse in with that issue in particular. Why are you willing
Call
to
from
take that?
two.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter? Hello? Okay, did you just call in to see if I was real and not fake? Thank you very much for calling in. Have a good day. Guys, I would appreciate everybody hitting the thumbs up button if you're new here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like political conversations, if you like these types of conversations with people through the phone. Would appreciate hitting the subscribe button. I'm also on TikTok every morning debating as well here in the evening. Don't know if that schedule is going to stay that way, but regardless, I try and go live pretty much every single day. So if you don't want to miss those conversations, make sure you hit that little subscribe button for free and make sure you hit the bell for free so that way you know when I go live. Would appreciate pushing the live, sending super chats, hitting thumbs up, all those things. Would appreciate it. This guy says, closed border, lower crime and drugs, lower fuel prices. Dems hate his success. So I'm not sure. Part of what you said is incorrect. The border's not closed, number one. Crime was going down on in terms of its national average for the last several years. In cities like Washington, D.C., for instance, crime was 14% below pre-pandemic levels. Donald Trump sent in the National Guard because he said crime was out of control. I don't know if you're aware of this or you read the Uniform Crime Data Report, but crime has been trending downward for some time. In terms of gas, it was down like a part of a percentage point recently, largely due to its seasonal mix. Well, you've got your bucket list, your grocery list of things to do. You got your list of all your wishes. That's a wish list, dude. What? Are you talking about Ukraine? Let me explain something to you really quick. Donald Trump's 28-point peace plan is a surrender. Can I be any more clear? Donald Trump's 28-point peace plan is a surrender. Can I be any more clear? I hope I don't need to be any more clear. I said this before the election. If you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for a Russian victory in Ukraine. That's what you voted for. And it's funny because people think, and Donald Trump will tack this on as another war that he ended. Sure, I'll tell you why it's a surrender. No problem. So it is a surrender. Let me just turn the phone off here for a second. It is a surrender for a number of different reasons. Number one, the peace plan involves surrendering a significant portion of the Donbass region, okay, which is the economic and industrial heartland of the country. They will essentially struggle to recover economically without significant international support. It includes caps on their military, 600,000 cap when they have their troops are at roughly 750,000 currently. So 150,000 reduction in military troops. 150,000 reduction. 150,000 reduction. It forces them to hold elections within 100 days of the peace deal being signed. 100 days in Russian occupied territory. Is that enough or do you need more? The buffer zone, which will also be Russian territory, by the way. The buffer zone will also be Russian territory, by the way. All right, let's turn the phone lines back on, see if we can get a Trump supporter. If you are a Trump supporter and you disagree with what I just said, call in 908-652-3703. We'd love to see your take. Go ahead. Let's hear it. Trump supporters are super mad about something in the chat, but I don't know why. Everything I'm saying is true.
Call from
Will.
Will, are you a Trump supporter?
No, absolutely not. But I'm here to talk about anybody who votes for Republicans or Democrats. You're all part of the same issue. I mean, why sit here and talk how bad Trump is when we can talk about how bad Biden, Obama,
Because Biden's not
Bush,
the president.
Clinton.
Biden's
yeah,
not the
but
president. Who'd you vote
yeah,
for?
but you keep voting.
Hold
but
on.
you keep
Excuse
voting
me.
for the
Who
same
did you
Republicans,
vote for?
Democrats, don't you?
Who did you vote for?
I voted for an independent candidate, like
they-
like sane people do.
And what percentage of the vote did they obtain?
Are you going to
who
try
did you
the
vote for?
fallacy about how it's a waste of my
Who
vote?
did you vote for? Who
What
did
difference
you-
does that make?
tell me the
you
name.
won't even know the
Tell me
person's
the name. Tell me their
the
name.
Libertarian candidate.
Do you know their name?
I'm not going to tell you the
He
name. I
doesn't
know the
know
name
their
of the
name.
person I
He
voted for.
doesn't
He's the
know their name.
Libertarian candidate.
You don't know their name. What's
You
their name?
can't even name
What's
a
their
third-party
name?
candidate.
What's their
name
name?
a third-party candidate. Name a third-party
What's their
candidate. Name a
name? Jill
third-party
Stein.
candidate.
Jill Stein.
Name one.
Jill Stein. What's their name?
And what happened to Jill Stein when she tried to
You
debate?
just
Tell me what happened.
I just answered your question. Are you going to answer mine?
About what? What was
You
the question?
didn't vote. You didn't vote, liar. Have a good day. Have a good day, liar. Way to get called out in front of hundreds of people claiming you voted and you didn't even vote. E.E. Green, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm old enough to remember the old Soviet Union. Sorry, that flew by very quick. In the Cold War, and it blows my mind that Mac has blinders on for this issue. Well, listen, it's going to result in the United States having boots on the ground in Poland when Russia decides to invade them. I don't think that's a good path forward for anyone. Call in if you are a Trump supporter, 908-652-3703. 908-652-3703. I voted for the Libertarian candidate, but I don't know their name. Because you didn't vote for a Libertarian candidate. Oh, my God. Man, that was embarrassing for that dude. That was embarrassing for that dude.
Call from
Reed.
Reed, what's up? Are you a Trump supporter, Reed?
Traditionally, yes.
No, that's not an answer. Are you a Trump supporter, Reed?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you feel about this Russia-Ukraine situation in particular? Let's start there.
That's actually exactly what I was trying to talk about. So I
Love it. Go.
So I understand that this deal that they're coming to is obviously very Russian, leaning and biased. I'm not going to deny that. My question to you, or I guess what I was trying to really talk about, is do we feel like Ukraine has another option, really?
Another option. Well, yeah, I think they have another option. I don't think they should be accepting surrender at the battle lines, essentially. I think I think my biggest issue, here's the thing. If you're going to make this deal, then they should be able to join NATO. That's where I stand. If you're going to surrender that much land, if you're going to make that much in terms of territorial concessions, you are putting Russia has a stronger foothold than they did prior to the invasion. So Ukraine ultimately becomes more vulnerable. I would have less of a problem with it if there were the right security assurances. But capping their military at 600,000, telling them to renounce any future NATO membership, right? They can apply for EU. They can't join NATO. They have to renounce any future NATO membership, essentially making them more vulnerable, and then trusting that Russia won't break any future agreement. I have a big problem with that.
It's just setting them up for...
That's what I think. I see
it's setting them up for failure in the future.
Well, let's talk long term. Let's talk outside of the Trump presidency. Okay, this keeps peace through to 2028. What happens then? What happens then? They're surrendering over half of the Donbass region. How do they recover economically? They can't.
They
Eventually,
really.
Russia swallows Ukraine. That is eventually what happens here. And anyone that thinks that's not what happens, well, guess what? I also predicted this. when all Trump supporters said he would have this war solved within 24 hours after getting elected. I predicted that Trump would eventually propose a surrender in the form of a peace plan after he's unable. First, he will attack Zelensky and support Putin. Then he will support Zelensky and then attack Putin. And then eventually he'd go back to Putin because he can't win a negotiation with Putin. And ultimately, the peace deal will be a Russian wish list. And that's exactly what happened. To a T. And people who watch me on TikTok can tell you that's exactly what I said would happen, and here we are. Here the fuck we are. Trump's inability to negotiate.
I definitely...
Sorry, go ahead.
So, no, you're fine. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with your points that you have there. I guess what I'm trying to get at, though, is do we have... So say that they don't accept this deal, okay? And then the fighting would continue. Does Ukraine really have any choice? Should they stop it now? Or if the fighting continues, are they just going to lose everything eventually anyways? So are we going to make them losing everything now or in the future, I guess, is what I'm wondering. Like, do we feel like they can actually have any kind of chance to prevent this if we stop it now, or are we just going to buy them time for a little while so maybe they can stop it in the future? Like, I don't know what the better choice is.
I think the biggest mistake, and maybe I didn't explain this enough, I think the biggest mistake was not, meeting with Putin, laying out the red carpet for Putin. This is exactly why Biden didn't want to sit down with him, right? Like, you can surrender, you can retreat, and we'll sit down and have a conversation. But you don't get to continue to launch missiles at civilians and want negotiation. If they don't accept this deal, obviously, eventually Ukraine would probably lose if the West turns their back on them. But I mean, they want to fight for their country. So you obviously are going to have increased tension. Russia probably interprets that refusal as justification to intensify their military operations, I would imagine. So that could possibly expand the conflict. I think it could get uglier. Yeah.
So would you be someone who supports further intervention from other countries to prevent that, or not so much?
I think do you understand what the long-term consequences are to Russia taking Ukraine? Are you of the belief they would eventually attack Poland?
Because
our intelligence says yes to that question. Listen, I'm somebody who doesn't like war, right? I'm opposed to supporting Israel. I was opposed to dropping bunker busters on Iran's enrichment facilities, right? I'm just generally speaking opposed to war. This particular conflict, I think, could have severe future consequences for American citizens. I think eventually we would be in an indirect conflict with Russia if you allow them to take Ukraine. If you significantly weaken Ukraine, I think that eventually Russia does attack NATO, does attack Poland. I mean, if it happens under the Trump administration, Trump said it depends on your interpretation of Article 5. How does that make you feel as an American citizen? Your interpretation of Article 5.
To be honest with you, I'm not really a big fan of being a part of NATO. So I would just prefer it not to happen either, because I don't want to.
So are you an isolationist?
I don't know. I'm in the age group of people that would possibly.
Are you an
not.
Are you an isolationist?
Not economically, no. But I don't really want to get. I would consider myself like a modern version of it. I'm not an isolationist from the past where.
The only reason you're saying that is because you know that isolationism contributed to World War II. And the consequences of allowing authoritarian dictators like this to expand territory, and how dangerous that is, ultimately. Eventually, you have to intervene. So we'll see how it goes. What do you think?
Our opinions will differ.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think this is a good peace deal, yes or no?
No, I don't, but I just don't know what the alternative would be other than getting more involved in it, and I just would rather not be more involved in it, but I guess I just have different things I am particularly prioritizing that I find more important than other people, which is more domestic issues than
But I think that's because
things
you
around the
don't
world.
believe in the long-term consequences. That's why we have a disagreement here. Because you don't believe in the long-term consequences. You do not believe Russia would eventually attack Poland. So that's why we're different.
Yeah,
there.
you would be correct. That's where our opinion differs.
That's where we differ. And I mean, there's nothing to debate there. That's my opinion. We've seen them provoke NATO. I think Vladimir Putin is so dangerous. I think he would be willing to use nuclear deployment. That's how dangerous. I think if his back is against the wall, he would be willing to do just that. Do you know something I continuously cite when I have these conversations, right, about Russia in particular and Vladimir Putin? In 2005, Vladimir Putin said, the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. Can you tell me, is that an insane statement to make?
Yeah, that definitely.
Why is that insane?
The collapse of the Soviet Union meant freedom and sovereignty for several different countries and peoples.
But furthermore, what other geopolitical catastrophes have we had in the last century?
I mean, World War II, World War
The
I,
Holocaust, for instance.
Yeah, that would
kind of an insane statement to make from someone, right? This guy he has one goal, and that's to recreate the Soviet Empire. I'm highly concerned about what he will do if successful in Ukraine, and make no mistake about it. Signing this peace deal is a victory for Russia. Have a good day, dude. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Take care. There's absolutely no disputing this. There's no disputing this. Do Trump supporters want a Trump family like the royal family in England? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think Trump supporters know what they want. If we're talking about MAGA in particular, I don't think they know what they want. This guy says, you have been wrong about everything. Name one thing you've been right about, President Donald. I've been right about everything. What are you talking about?
Call from
Mark.
I don't have to. My record speaks for itself. You can ask anyone who watches me. What's going on, dude? What's your name? What's up, dude? Hello? Bro, you're on the line. How do you call me and forget? How the fuck do you call me and forget? We can't hear you, bro. Like, I don't know if you think we can hear you. I hear grown men giggling in the background. Oh my God, I think we're on the line. Johnny, he picked up Johnny. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm gonna tell my wife about this. If I had one. We're gonna tell all the boys at work tomorrow that we pranked someone on the internet. We can't even hear you. We can't even hear you. We couldn't even hear what you were saying. Goofball. If you're a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. 908-652-3703. Guys, people from TikTok, do you notice how pissed MAGA gets in this chat over here, dude? Like, dude, they are so mad all the time.
Call from
David.
David, are you a Trump supporter, David?
Yeah.
All right, David, why are you willing to support Donald Trump through all this controversy going on recently?
because he just makes more sense in the world we're living in today.
Really, he makes more sense when he refuses to release the Epstein files to the American public. That makes more sense to you?
Well, to be honest with you, I actually wanted to make more of a comment about the food stamps.
Okay, you want to make a comment about food stamps? Okay, go ahead. What's your comment?
Yeah, yes. So, unbeknownst to people out in the Inland Empire,
He doesn't want to talk to
there
those.
is actually,
He doesn't want to talk about the Epstein files,
yeah, yeah.
guys. Just make it clear. He doesn't. He does not want to mention the Epstein files. Rightfully so. He does not want to mention the Epstein files.
No, I just wanted to make a quick comment that in the Inland Empire, there's actually a food stamps casino that people don't know about.
Thanks. Can you just comment on like what's happening in the United States? Thank you. Why are you willing to support Donald Trump through all of this?
Because he's taking care of business. Like the other guy was running on a car battery.
Taking care of business by working effortlessly to keep the Epstein files from the American people.
Okay, but like
taking care
is
of
so
business
important about
by
the Epstein
telling
files?
taking care of business by telling Ukraine we're going to turn our back on you if you don't sign a surrender to Russia. Is that it was
Wait,
taking
let me
care
ask
of
you something.
business?
Are you an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, so did you know that the stimulus check? I actually received stimulus help from Joe Biden.
We're
And
not
when I
getting
went
a
to go file my
stimulus check.
taxes-
We're not getting a stimulus check.
No, I know we're not getting a stimulus check, but I'm making a comment that under Joe Biden, I actually got help from the stimulus that he gave out. And when I went to go file taxes, they charged me double on my taxes.
What?
Which to me, it was infuriating to me because that same year he was in office, they gave Ukraine like $900 million. And I'm like, where
No, they
did my
didn't.
where did my
You
government
just made this story
go
up.
wrong?
You just made.
Because
What are you talking
no,
about?
I have my documents. I have
You
my
got- you
documents
didn't. No,
from
you
when I
didn't.
got taxed.
No, you
Yes,
didn't.
I did.
No, you
Yes,
didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I paid double back to the government. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I
okay,
have
sure.
the proof.
Anyway,
It's in my taxes.
what was
Yeah.
the second
Yeah,
point
the
you made?
IRS double taxed me.
What was the second point you
would
made?
be the second point was that it was infuriating to me because like the IRS they double
the
taxed
Ukraine
me,
stuff. That's what
but
you
then-
said.
but
Do you
then
know
they
that
gave-
money spent
yeah,
in
and
the?
they-
No,
and
can
they
I explain
gave-
something to you?
it-
You don't think
Yeah,
we're
go
actually
ahead.
giving Ukraine bundles of cash, do you? You know that, right?
I hope we're not in. We are. I hope they charge
That
them
money
double.
is spent in the United
Just like
States.
they did me.
That money's spent in the United States. In case you don't know that. Did you know that?
Well, educate me. That way I can learn a little bit more.
It's spent in the United States. And secondly, you know, Congress authorizes aid, not the president. But much of that money goes to like defense manufacturing, military production, right? And then sent to Ukraine, right? It funds the production of weapons, ammunition, equipment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Well,
Did you think we were
I
sending?
suppose.
Did you think we were sending suitcases of money to Ukraine?
Well, I hope that was not the case.
It wasn't. It's not. It's a MAGA, ridiculous, stupid talking point from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, it still sucks that the IRS double taxed me, but I mean,
Okay, well,
I guess that kind of
that's great.
calms me down to that point. But yeah, man, there's Inland Empire underground casino where people go and gamble their food stamps.
Why does he keep feeding me this information about some casino in England, underground empire? What is this guy talking? Have a good day, dude. You're weird. Are you saying that's happening in the United States or something? Fuck. Like, Jesus. Somebody said that's not true. It's not spent in the United States. Yes, it is spent in the United States. Yes, it is spent in the United States. You're so dumb. Look it up. Look it up. It's defense-related priority spending. Weapons and military support. You don't know what you're talking about.
Call from
My name is Juan.
Juan, are you a Trump supporter? Alicia, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Alicia. Appreciate you so much.
See, I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay, go ahead. Why are you a Trump? Why are you willing to support Donald Trump through all this craziness going on the last week?
I'm very much a Trump supporter.
Why are you willing to be a Trump supporter with all of the controversy this last week? Just this week, there's enough to stop supporting Donald
The
Trump.
controversy, it's okay. Look, man, it's like the stuff that's happening in around the world and in America. It's a bunch of bullshit. You know the same thing, man. You know it's the truth. It's the same thing when Biden was in there or Barack. It does not matter. A lot of stuff going to come out. You know what I'm talking about. It's going to keep on.
Whose
it's
fault
a bunch
is the
of crap,
war?
man.
You're talking about the war. Whose fault is the war?
Well, I'm sure Biden had a lot to do with it. When you go bow down to Iran and give them billions of dollars, it's going to happen, man. What's going to happen, huh? What's going to happen?
Biden gave them what?
Oh, you know he did. He gave Iran the billions of dollars. So did Barack Obama. You know that's true.
So
You know it's true.
let me ask, no, I don't. You don't know how government works, which is really fucking sad. But without pivoting to Biden or weird shit conspiracies you have about Biden, can you just tell me really quick?
Because
Can you just tell me really? Can you just tell me really quick why, or who started the war, so we can start this conversation?
Who started the war? It was I'm sure that Russia started the war.
And what should we do about that? What should we be doing? Should Ukraine be signing this 28-point peace plan?
Well, I don't think they really have much of a choice, man, because like a caller earlier said, if you think about this, they're going to have to give this land up no matter what. I mean,
No,
you
they're
think
not.
Putin's going to stop? He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. He's going to go till he goes to Poland, and it's going to keep going. So,
Oh, he's going to keep
I
going
say-
into Poland? So you're admitting that he's going to attack Poland?
he probably,
Thank you for
He probably
proving my
will, man.
point. Is Poland a NATO country,
well-
sir?
he sure is.
So what does that mean for
sure?
the United States?
Never means we need to see how we somehow to invoke maybe getting Ukraine into the NATO.
But as a part of the
I
peace,
really think
hold
so.
on, excuse me. As a part of the peace plan, Ukraine has to renounce any future NATO membership.
Now, that's something I don't like. I agree, but here's
So
the
what
thing,
part
man.
of the deal do you
When you
like? I
talk-
don't think you know what the deal is. I don't think you're equipped to have the conversation.
I
but
don't
give
know
me
the
some
whole-
other parts of the deal.
Okay. Look, is evidently you've read every part of the deal. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, I have.
I have not. I don't
So
think a lot
what,
of people.
What
that
don't you
have
like
called
about it then? How do you know you don't like it if you haven't read it?
I just want the killing to stop. Okay.
I know that's
I want
cute.
the
That's a
killing
cute
to
thing
stop.
to say. That's a cute thing to say, but adults,
Cute.
have
What's cute?
yeah, because it's like something you would say to a child. Yes, I want the killing to stop. But it's going to result in more death. How does Ukraine recover if they're surrendering over 50% of the Donbass region? How do they recover economically? What do you think happens to their economic viability if they're surrendering the heartland, the economic heartland of their country? Explain that to me. Go ahead, break it down, smart guy. Yeah, hello? You're not going to answer? Have a good day. I swear to God, every Trump supporter thinks they're a genius, and none of them have even read the fucking deal. Holy fuck. I love these guys in chat that keep telling me, you're not smart. But yet you're spelling you're wrong, Nathan. You're telling me I'm not smart while simultaneously
Call from
spelling you're wrong. Let me break this down for you really quick, Nathan. What you're looking for is what we call, okay, a contraction. Okay? A contraction of two different words. You are separated by what we call an apostrophe. You should stop speaking, Nathan. Okay? Don't talk anymore. Are you a Trump supporter? What's your first name?
Yes, I am.
What's up? What's your first name?
My name's John.
John. Thoughts on
Yes.
Russia and Ukraine? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it. I don't know enough about that. I'll be completely honest. Foreign policy is just not I've never really cared about that. It just seems like it's a bunch of lies, from even back in the JFK days. You hear about the Bay of Pigs. What really happened, we're not going to know. We're not going to know about what's going on with all the stuff that's going on right now for about 20 to 30 years is the way that I look at it.
But it's a disaster. It's a disaster here as well.
Is.
We're just getting over the last.
It's been a disaster. It's been a disaster for how long has it been going on now? 4 years. So it's been
what are we talking
4 years. Ukraine and Russia since it boiled up again, and we're dealing
early
with
2022.
Putin, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Early 2022.
Yeah. So 3 years. So when Biden was in there, he couldn't figure it out. His administration couldn't figure it out.
Within a 3
Trump
years
is going to try to do what he does. Trump's going to try to do what he thinks is right and stuff. But from you asked me if I supported Trump, I can only talk about stuff that I've researched and things like that. So I'd like to talk about
foreign policy.
I support him with what he's. It's a big one. Oh, I get it. But it's just, a pay grade over what I'm willing to invest my time in.
What about immigration?
I'm more interested in what's happening to the United States. Yeah, immigration's a big one for me.
All right, let's do it.
Immigration's a big one for me. So I support what he's doing. I support the fact that it's been too long. Like, it's basically the inmates are running the asylum. We're bowing down to too many things of what immigrants are doing when they come in here. And it's not just, it's the illegal immigrants that come here, but it's also the immigrants that come here with papers to begin with. I call it papers because there's different ways to come in. And then they overstay their welcome. And then that's been putting a strain on our society for a really long time. So I'm from, my mom was born in Mexico. She came here when she was 4. I've had multiple talks with her about what happened. How long did it take you to become a citizen? They were under the impression, and this is what happens when you come into the United States. This was back in 1965. So she comes into the United States. My grandparents become citizens within a year and a half. They were told if they become citizens that their kids become citizens, which was incorrect. So my aunt goes to become a sheriff deputy in the county of Los Angeles and finds out you're not a citizen. So all my aunts and uncles at that point in time became citizens. And so when I see the fact that, my family's not the smartest family in the world, but they were able to figure out a way, 6 grown adults figured out how to become citizens. I'm born here, so I look at that from.
Let's just simplify this. I see where you're going, but let's just hurry this up. So, what specifically are undocumented? Because the issue comes down to, in regards to mass deportation, the undocumented immigrants that are already here. They're already present in the country. What specifically are they doing that justifies spending billions of dollars to remove them? The conversation is quite literally that simple. Okay, this is the major issue people have. So what are they doing?
So it becomes generational amounts of money that this country shouldn't have to pay for. In other words, if you are here illegally and you have kids here, then we now, as a society, we've decided as the United States those are citizens. They're born here.
Correct.
We're going to take care of them. But the reality is they shouldn't be here to begin with. There should be something in place to say, if we should have a task force that says, if you've overstayed your visa, we're going to go find you and we're going to kick you out. And we haven't done that. We tried to do it. Barack Obama, and I've been a Republican, but when Barack Obama was doing this, I supported that as well. Like, he saw that there was a need. You've heard all the speaking points that the Republicans and the right side put out there. We're a nation of laws and we got to do. Yeah, we are. And so it's become so bad that this is how we have to handle it. It's the same way that we did it with the war on drugs. Drugs were bad. They got worse.
Those are comparable.
And have you ever seen how?
They're not comparable.
Well, the reason I was going to, let me just finish so you can see where I'm coming from. Okay. When the war on drugs got to be so bad, we started to do some really bad stuff. People were going into people's homes, yanking them out of their homes, separating them from their families, and doing it in the middle of the night, doing it with masks on, doing it with SWAT, doing it with all these things that we see now. But because that was such a domestic problem, no one really exploited that.
Wait, you're talking about Obama's? I'm sorry, I disassociated for a second. Who was doing it with masks?
I'm going back to.
Did you say Obama?
Police agencies.
Okay, you mean under
SWAT.
the Obama administration?
SWAT was going in them. No, Reagan.
Oh, Reagan.
Reagan, Bush.
So let me
name them all.
Well,
name them all. They all had to do that because drugs got to be so bad that that's what they had to do. They had to go above and beyond what was probably what we would look at as being ethical, or people wearing masks is scary and all those things. We had to employ people that were willing to say, you know what, this is frightening for people. This is aggressive. We're going in there with rifles. We're going into people's homes. There's going to be kids in those homes. And we're going in there and we're doing that because we have to save the future generations from what's going on. And so when I look at what ICE is doing and the negative things that they get from that, and wearing masks and going in and, whatever,
right,
if you go into a Home Depot and
Here's the thing. You're simplifying this to, if people break the law, people need to follow the law, because I believe you specifically said we are a nation of laws. And so your standard more or less is the law, the law, the law. I acknowledge we have a broken immigration system, and I want to make it easier to become an American citizen. Besides that, right, as I discussed specifically, the people that are already here, right, they're already in the country, you think they should be removed because they committed that misdemeanor. If your standard is you must follow because they committed the misdemeanor.
They committed the misdemeanor, and they continue to commit it every day that they don't put plans in place to become citizens.
That's not the law.
But that's what it is.
No, it isn't.
Every day that they're here, they're
not breaking another law. It's one law.
They're not.
Right.
It's
so
one law, but if I break it today, and you don't catch me for 10 years,
It's literally 8 USC 1325. Okay, it is a misdemeanor.
Yep, and
8 USC 1325.
But what's the penalty for that?
It depends.
What are the penalties?
Usually it's a fine. Usually it's a fine or up to 6 months in prison. But can I explain something to you?
Or
up to 6 months in prison.
You're missing one more.
Up to 6 months in prison.
There's one more.
I don't
Deportation.
know what well, of course, that's not as
deportation.
Right, but that's not as a
but
part
you
of
missed
the
that.
punishment.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Okay. Anyway,
that's a big one, and you're missing it. You're refusing to say it. I don't know why.
No, I'm not refusing to say it. You haven't let me talk. Can I speak?
Okay.
Jesus.
Sure.
So here's the thing, man. Right? Like, if we're a nation of laws and we must follow the law, and that's your standard, people must follow the law. Why did you vote for a convicted felon?
Unfortunately, I was in a hospital with COVID, so I didn't vote at all. But I would have voted for him because I think he'll be exonerated from it. I think
But
it
he
was
wasn't.
the way
He's a
that the legal
convicted.
system.
But wait, he's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon.
Right, but
we've already established that.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, but his process isn't over yet.
He's a convicted
His process
felon.
isn't over yet.
Yes, it is. He's a convicted felon.
You can appeal. His process isn't over.
So I don't know if
Again,
you understand
I
this.
believe in
Excuse
laws,
me.
right?
Excuse me. Please let me speak. That's not how our criminal
Whenever
justice
someone wants to tell you the truth,
Excuse me.
yes, it does.
He's a
I worked in the criminal justice
excuse me.
system
You
for a
don't know
very
what
long
you're
time.
no, clearly you didn't. Because you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I
You're a
did.
convicted Stop
I do.
talking. I'm gonna have to silence you if you don't let me talk. Are you gonna let me talk or not? Okay. So very simply put, he's a convicted felon. Guy, I love the guy in chat who's a Trump supporter talking about my love for Israel. Number one, I'm not Jewish. Number two, I don't support the United States supporting Israel. You do because you're a fucking Trump supporter. Now shut up, you Zionist turd. So very simply put, right? Donald Trump was a convicted felon who received an unconditional discharge at the time of the election. Just because you are appealing does not mean you are not a convicted felon. Donald Trump, by law, is a convicted felon in the state of New York who
100%.
received an I don't need you to reaffirm what I'm saying. Who received an unconditional discharge 10 days before the inauguration. Period. Point blank. Simple. Whether or not he appeals doesn't change my point. If your standard is people must follow the law, then you wouldn't have voted for a convicted felon. Don't tell me your standard is people must follow the law when you voted for someone who's a convicted felon. Plain and simple. Now, look, all the people who like to argue with me on this, go Google it. Don't trust the things that I say. Go look them up and find out you're wrong. He was a convicted felon, so don't claim your standard is the law. What are undocumented immigrants doing that justifies spending billions of dollars to remove them? Do you have a justification for spending that amount of money?
You asking me now? I could speak.
Oh,
I just
guy,
wanna
you
make sure.
spoke the entire time. Sorry for speaking for 2 minutes out of a 20-minute conversation.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you're calling in. You want to know our views. You want to know.
I know,
why
but I don't
we're
need a fucking book.
supporting this
You've
guy.
been you've
Right?
spoken 40 pages. Now go.
So yes, I believe that if we don't stop the bleeding, it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. You know, I don't know what city you live in. You know, I don't know if you have a lot of immigrants that are in your area, but I've lived in 2 different places, and there's a lot of immigrants, and it's fine if you do it the right way, but you know, if you're not going to abide by what you're supposed to do, then we're
Gonna
just going
say
to
the law
continue
again?
to increase our.
You going
Yeah.
back to the law
Yeah.
again?
Well, so
Still
how
can't
did-
give me
who
a
gave him-
justification. Angel Blue Eyes, thank you for
Who
becoming
gave-
a tadpole.
Who gave him the ability to become president? What is that? I forget the term that you used.
Election.
They gave him what so that he could? No, the election, yes, but what was? They gave him something 10 days before the inauguration. What did they give
Unconditional
him?
discharge.
And who gave him that?
The judge.
So that's through the legal system.
Yes. It is
it's
he
legal.
didn't want to interfere with his ability to govern. Quite literally.
So that's illegal. So that's legal.
Yes.
And Trump also has things going on that are saying
That's a
what they did in
That
what
happens
they
during
did
the
in New
sentencing.
York.
Can I clarify, though? That
And-
happens
and-
during the sentencing phase. It has nothing to do with whether or not he's a convicted felon.
Right, but he can still, at this point, exonerate himself, and it's a weird situation, you know. But the way that I see the legal system and what they did to say,
So could OJ.
you did this 17, yeah, you did this 17 times.
So
you did
could
this
anyone who
17 times,
commits
so
a
that's what makes it a felony. That was the first time.
So do you think
that was
anyone
the
who
first time
goes
that was ever used, though?
So that's, first of all, you don't know what you're talking
Right?
about. No, you have no idea what you're talking about.
There were a bunch of it was a misdemeanor.
No, but
it
it's
was a misdemeanor, but because they wrote it in a way that said he did it this many times over this amount of time, that's when it became a felony, and it has never been done that before.
My turn to talk?
That's what Trump is
Well,
arguing.
I'll explain. You don't know
Sure.
what you're talking about. So it is quite literally the
sure.
law in New York.
You're so smart.
Okay, it's quite literally the law in New York, okay? When it's to conceal another crime, it automatically gets elevated to a felony. Okay? You understand? So basically, right, he falsified business records, right, with the intent to cover up another crime, such as violating election law. Okay? So the intent triggers the intent triggers the felony classification, which is a Class E felony in the state of New York. Okay? More severe penalties than a misdemeanor. Because he was elected, the judge gave him an unconditional discharge as to not interfere with his ability to govern.
So legally, he's allowed to be president.
Well, there's no constitutional requirement. Well, I mean, that question's more broad. Is he legally allowed to be president? According to the Constitution, you can have as many felonies as you want. There's no requirement that you have a clean criminal record. But if you just ask me the broad question, is he allowed to be president, I would cite specifically Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which outlines if you engage in insurrection, you are not eligible to be president, which is why multiple states removed him from the ballot, and the Supreme Court came in and changed the application process for that specific provision. Okay? But as it pertains to what we're talking about specifically, right, New York Penal Law 17510.
Okay, 175.10. Got it.
175.10. 170. It's really 175.5 that covers the misdemeanor for falsifying business records. But if you look up New York Penal Law 175.10, that covers the felony charge when it's linked to other crimes or concealment.
And the crime that he committed was what, in your opinion?
Falsifying business records to hide campaign finance violations would be the best description. So I've explained
I'm sorry,
this.
I missed that.
The offense is falsifying business records to hide campaign finance violations. If the intent is to defraud, right? If the intent is to conceal, it automatically gets elevated.
Okay.
So if you're falsifying business records to conceal another crime, it automatically gets elevated to a felony in the state of New York. It's literally written. It's literally written in the statute to protect the integrity of business records. So he broke the law, dude.
And the fact that, yeah, he did. I mean, right now that's what it is. You're right. Until the process is ultimately done, I 100%.
Explain to me why specifically do you?
He did break the law, but
okay, sure.
But I still think it was a misdemeanor.
So again, I ask you, it's not a misdemeanor, though. As I just explained to you, in the state of New York, it gets elevated to a felony when the intent is to conceal another crime. I literally gave it to you. New York Penal Law 175.10. You're talking about New York Penal Law 175.5.
Right.
Okay? 175.10 covers the felony charge.
The precedents that New York has done, though, is they've never tried someone under 175.10 for what Trump did.
Really?
Do
you have any fucking clue what you're talking about? You didn't even know it was 175.10 5 seconds ago?
No.
But now
I didn't, and now I do, so I get to look it up. Isn't that amazing? Like if you have just a regular discussion with people, you can actually get somewhere. But you like to just start F-bombing and telling people how stupid they are. I don't really.
I never did any of those things. I told you to let me talk, and you're wrong. Many people have been charged and convicted under 175.10. Many people have been convicted. It's not unique at all to high-profile cases. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a loudmouth know-it-all with nothing. You're just okay. Google it right now. Has anyone been? Google it. Has anyone else been charged with New York Penal Law 175.10? Look it up.
For campaign finances?
You seriously think Trump is the
money?
Wait.
For hush money?
Why are you moving the goalpost?
For hush money to.
Why are you moving the goalpost?
I'm not.
Trump's situation is unique.
This is what the money
He's running
was for.
Trump's situation is unique. He's running for president. Just because Trump's situation is unique doesn't mean.
I'm not.
Again, why are you
I'm not
interrupting
moving
me?
to the goalpost.
Why are you interrupting me? Just because Donald Trump's situation is unique
You asked me
does
a
not
question,
mean.
dumbass.
No, you said
You fucking
nobody.
asked me a question.
Excuse me. Should I roll
You
back
said-
the tape? Should I roll back the
Yeah,
tape
roll
of
the
you
fucking
five?
tape back, motherfucker.
Excuse
You
me.
keep
Should I
asking
roll back the
questions,
tape?
and then you don't
Hey,
want nobody to
stupid.
fucking
Hey,
talk to
stupid.
you,
Do you want to
'cause you're a
listen?
fucking dumb
Do you
fuck.
want to listen, dumbass?
Yeah, I've
you
been
just
listening.
said, "Hey, dumbass." I'll just silence
You're a
you. You want to
fucking-
shut up?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
go
just,
ahead. Use your
you
power,
just
motherfucker.
said,
Use your
you
power,
just,
motherfucker.
are you going to keep talking
Go
over
ahead.
me? You're just going to keep talking over me? You
I don't know, you
literally,
talk over me.
Hey, stupid. You literally just said
Hey,
nobody's,
asshole.
hey, I'll just put you on hold. Your exact words. Nobody's been charged under 175.10 5 seconds ago. Now you're moving the goalpost. You said people were not charged under 175.10. Yes, they were, dumbass. Go join the chat with people on the right who can't spell your correctly. Holy shit. Nobody, I looked it up. Nobody was charged 175.10. God, you Trump supporters are so far behind in the race, you actually believe you're leading. You're so far behind in the race, you actually think you're leading. You're losing. Your exact words. Should I rewind it and play it out loud for everybody? Nobody's been charged with New York Penal Law 175.10. Your exact words. Goof. How about just accept, I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why you were trying to crash out and talk over me, because you know I'm going to say that you just said 5 seconds ago, nobody has broken the law under 175.10. Wrong again. Wrong again, Trump supporters. It is high. It is far. It is gone to deep left center. Adam Cray on the season's batting .327 with 41 home runs on this season, 176 ribbies, and he's just batting MAGA all over the field. And here they are crying. Oh, he's running up to them with a red Solo cup, and he's drinking their tears in the middle of center field. It is high. It is far. It is gone. God, I love MAGA crying when they fucking lose. I love MAGA crying when they lose. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? It's just so beautiful, isn't it? Just watching them cry. Get ready for the midterms because you're going to lose again. The blue tsunami cannot be stopped. The country's tired of MAGA. We're over it. We're over MAGA people telling us no one's been convicted of 175.10. They're in the chat saying, Trump supporters, you're stupid. Spelling, you're wrong. Let me do this for Trump supporters really quick, okay? What you are looking for is a contraction, okay, of two different words. You are separated by what we call an apostrophe. So say it in your head first. You are stupid, right? You are stupid. Therefore, it requires a contraction. Jeremy, thank you for the $1.99. Thanks for smashing and educating these Muppets. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate you. Guys would appreciate the Super Chats. Nathan Trucker deleted his pinned comment, coincidentally. Yeah, if you talk over me, I'll hang up on your ass. I'll tolerate it for a little bit, but if you just scream over me, I'll eventually I'll hang up on you. Especially when you're denying things that are true. Okay, like you don't get to tell me. First, you told me Trump's not a convicted felon. Then you told me he is a convicted felon, but he's appealing it, and so therefore he's not considered a convicted felon. And then I proved you wrong on that, and then you said, well, the felony he committed wasn't actually a felony. And then I showed you actually it is, and then you started arguing that no one's been convicted of that felony before, so it was fixed. You notice how the goalpost just keeps moving and moving and moving, and before you know it, it's off a cliff. And I go with it. I could simply say, stop moving the goalpost, right? Like, you're obviously moving the goalpost. But I don't, because I think it's entertaining. I really do. And I think people like to watch them get debunked. Trump supporters, listen, you have a few days left before the Epstein files are released. Because here's the difference between me and you. I don't care what people that are Democrat get exposed in the Epstein files, because I'm cool with it. I want all these people out of our government. But you love Trump. I don't love politicians. You love Trump. You're in love with him. And when he gets exposed, you're going to either have to condone the behavior or abandon your support. That's your option. Defend Democrats on what? I call Democrats out all the time when they do things wrong. I'm not like you, right? I don't treat it like it's my family. Man. For those of you in here that get it, I love you so much, because if I lived in the world alone with MAGA, I don't know if I'd be able to survive. If you're a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. My tolerance is low. Don't speak over me.
Call from. This call.
Make sure you say your name so I can hear you. Yes, the Epstein files are going to suck. You know who they're going to suck for? Peds. People who need their fucking ass out of our government. So who gives a shit?
Call from.
Dorsey.
Dorsey, what's going on?
Hey, man, you're doing a wonderful job.
Appreciate you, buddy.
I can't challenge you because basically you own facts. That's one thing I don't like about Trump people. They can't handle the facts.
They can't handle the
they
truth.
just want to go with feelings.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Unfortunately.
Now, if you want to, I know, this is bringing back up the subject of the Ukraine.
Sure.
Okay. You know why Putin wants the Ukraine back, right?
He wants to recreate the Soviet Empire. Essentially, they're incredibly mineral rich. There's a million different reasons why. Gives him a strategic advantage.
Also,
he has a stronger foothold if he. All right, go ahead.
Those nuclear submarine bases, the ones that did the maintenance on the nuclear subs and so forth, changing out the uranium, those were located in the Ukraine. Okay. Also, research and development, their research and development complex was located in Ukraine. Is the Detroit of the Soviet Union. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it's just not their country though anymore. So.
No, it's not. But see, that's why Russia wants it back, because I'm not saying that they're not stupid.
Yeah, there's 1,000 reasons
but they don't
want
have
it back.
Yeah, there is 1,000 reasons. But the thing is, we cannot. I'm a USMC vet. I'm a Marine. Okay. I was
Thank you for your
trained.
service, dude.
I was. Hey, thank you, man. I love America. I love all Americans, even the stupid ones. Okay. Look, NATO, when the Soviet Union broke apart, it was just West Germany, right? It was just West Germany when it happened. When East Germany reunified with Germany, it gave them a turbo boost economically, manpower, and everything, right? So this is just me. Because I've seen how the Germans get down militarily. Russia won't stand a chance against Germany at all. you see how they could just barely handle the Ukraine, right? Well, imagine if France, Great Britain, Sweden, and the rest of the NATO allies combine and attack on multi-fronts against Russia. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, well,
So, yeah,
here's and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for your service, dude. Appreciate you. Regardless, like we're talking about conflict with the United States and involving boots on the ground and potential nuclear deployment, at least tactical nuclear deployment. That's what I'm talking about preventing, right? And not allowing Russia to ultimately take Ukraine. And in regards to the peace deal, I don't see how Ukraine is Ukraine should be equally as strong after the war as they were before. And Russia should be partially, if not completely responsible for rebuilding that infrastructure. And there shouldn't be limitations. If you want to have a conversation about NATO specifically,
Thomas.
If you want to have a conversation about NATO specifically, we can have that conversation. But capping their military at 600,000, it's just it seems that you've weakened their sovereignty if they accept this deal. You've weakened their economic viability, and ultimately, I believe eventually Ukraine gets swallowed anyway. So I'm not sure why Zelensky would accept such a deal unless he just has no choice. What's up? Are you a Trump supporter? Okay, we'll move to the next guy. If you are a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. 908-652-3703. This guy says, when do you shut up? Well, if you want me to shut up, you probably should leave the live, Muppet. You know, it's not that complicated, although maybe it is for you. It's that little X up in the top. Yeah, hit it quickly. Kind of like you did on your homework, which is why we're here today. This guy says, Magda, make America Great Depression again. What's up with that, dude?
Call from
Thomas.
Thomas, how are you doing, Thomas? Are you a Trump supporter? Thomas?
Yeah, Trump supporter.
Cool, Thomas. Why are you supporting Donald Trump through all this most recent controversy?
I agree with tariffs. I agree with deporting all illegals. I agree with nationalism. So
nationalism or ultra-nationalism?
You define the difference.
Well, why would I have to define the difference? You're the one who said you were a nationalist. I want you to tell me what it is. Do you know?
Well, I said nationalist. You said ultra-nationalist. So
no, I asked you I said ultra-nationalist. I don't think you know what a nationalist is, which is why you said nationalism.
I don't know what a nationalist is. So
what is it? Tell me how you're. Tell me how you're an
ultra-nationalist.
Tell me how you're a nationalist.
How I'm a nationalist is I believe in all Americans should be given first priority over everyone else who's not an American, in terms of benefits, social benefits, etc., taxes, down the list, and then in terms of foreign policy, protect Americans at all costs.
Well, that's
especially
not
with the drugs. So I support Trump doing the Venezuela strikes, because that's
so you don't support
close to 100,000 Americans a day that I want to see protected.
Why do you support the Venezuela strikes?
I just said it. They're bringing drugs into the country that are killing
How do you know that?
100,000 Americans a day.
How do you know that?
What do you mean, how do I know that?
Well, there's exactly what I just said. How do you know that? If they're bringing all of these drugs into the United States.
Where does cocaine come from?
Fentanyl, the precursor, comes from China.
And then shipped to where?
Mexico.
So not in America, so it's coming from outside the country.
You just said you support Venezuela strikes. Where's Venezuela? Can you find Venezuela on a map?
It's in South America, next to Brazil and Colombia. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me really quick, what have you seen through our intelligence agencies that you think justifies lack of due process? or absence of due process.
It's international waters.
And there's
Waters don't have
international
the same
law.
rules.
And there's international law.
Not in international water.
There's
Not in international
it
water,
is
you're wrong.
absolutely against international law to just launch missiles at vessels without due process procedure. Yes, it is.
The rules change in international waters.
Are you telling me this is not against international law?
It is not.
You're wrong.
The way it's classified, it's not.
It
How
absolutely
am
is.
I wrong?
So just
Cite-
tell me really, what have you
cite
seen?
international
What
law
have you
that I'm
seen
wrong?
that justifies this? What is? Are you just saying trust your government?
No, I'm asking a question. How is it against that international law? If I'm wrong, you need to prove me wrong, right?
Yeah, you are wrong. It's against international law. You didn't. Put
How am
it-
I wrong?
Because
What
you can't
international law
bomb
is it breaking?
vessels. You can't bomb vessels that claim you claim their drugs on them as justification.
So what law is that being broken?
I don't know. Would you like me to look it up?
You're making the claim.
I'll look up the law for you. Hold on. Yeah, well, I'm not the first one to do this. Multiple legal experts have said it is against international law. So let's see.
Multiple people.
Hold on. I'm going to look it up for you. Hold on.
So I don't know what your point
Hold
is.
on. So under customary international law and treaties like the United Nations Charter, the use of force against vessels, even suspected drug traffickers, requires either self-defense, authorization by UN Security Council, or involvement in armed conflict. Evidence of attacking vessels
Two of
without
those
clear
are met.
evidence of imminent threat or UN authorization violates principles of sovereignty, non-intervention, and the right to life.
Sovereignty can't be violated in international waters against terrorists.
I just gave you three. Right to life.
But
it
those
absolutely
don't
violates
apply.
right to life.
So one of them kind of applies. So
You just said
I'll
it wasn't
address
against
the-
international law, and you got proven wrong. So now answer my question. What justification have you seen from your government that there was drugs on those boats?
So you're making my point because you gave three. One of them, and I'll get to the answer.
It doesn't have
But
to
one
be
of
all
them
three.
Was,
It doesn't
Yeah,
have to
that's
be all
what
three. I
I'm
gave
saying.
you.
agree.
I gave you.
A direct.
Can you
Hold on.
answer my
You're-
question?
You're on to the thing, which is the drugs.
And
So
how do you know
drugs
there were
being
drugs on those
smuggled, they're
boats?
Killing Americans, that is a threat to people.
How do you know there were drugs
How
on those
do
boats?
I know?
How do you know that?
Yeah, I am trusting the government.
He's running
And
away
when
from
the
guys.
government
If
shows
you're
pictures-
wondering why he's running away from this question, is because he's seen no proof and he's trusting his government. The same government, right, that told him there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. The same government that said there were connections to 9/11 that cost the life of over 1 million Iraqis. So yes, I believe it deserves due process out of sheer right to life.
So your answer is a negative can't be proven. So what should the Coast Guard?
You
come in
don't
and interdict
wait.
these boats
A
and
negative
take them?
can't be proven. You don't prove negatives, you chud. In what
That's what I just said, a
world?
negative can't be proven.
You don't
Why are
prove
you just
negatives.
restating what I'm saying?
No, you literally
Why
said,
are you
"Oh, so you
restating what I'm
can't
stating?
prove a negative, so therefore that's not justification to do it." You don't prove a negative.
And then you said, yeah, it's a rhetorical, and you're just restating what I said. I said
which
you
is
can't
an
prove a
idiotic
negative, and you're
statement to make. So again, is your argument sheerly I trust Donald Trump? Do you trust Donald Trump in regards to the Epstein files too?
In this instance, I trust the video that's being shown with 4 highly powered engines. Submarines, are those just fishermen out in submarines?
Who knows what it is, but that's why we have due process,
what it is?
right?
Just
To
some
find that
recreational
information. Listen, if
billionaire?
you're just in favor of just killing people because Trump said they're narco traffickers, then you're a fucking clown, right? And there's nothing more to say
Well,
to you, right? If you trust
is
just
it
taking
okay to-
human,
for
if
Obama
you
to drone
trust just
people?
taking human life because Trump told you they were narco traffickers, then yeah, you're a clown.
I don't trust Trump. for that. I don't trust this.
What
Justice Trump,
intelligence
that is.
have you seen, as I asked you earlier?
The videos. They literally post the videos. You can see a submarine.
So
going
5
into the
minutes
ocean
ago,
and
guys, he
getting blown
didn't
up.
have the evidence. He said, I trust my government. Now he's saying he doesn't trust his government.
You're reframing what I said.
Would you like me to
I said
rewind
I
it? You
trusted
literally
that
said,
they're
yes,
putting
I
out the
trust
video.
my government.
I said I trust the government, and then I expanded later that they're releasing the videos of the boats.
So the
One of
boats
them is a
justifies
literal
that they're
submarine.
narco traffickers. Listen, if that's enough for you to kill someone, then God, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of sick. I'm going to be honest. Can I just tell
So
you,
you're willing to
is
take
Donald
the
Trump, can I just ask
on
you a
it
question? Can I
not-
just ask you a question? Is Donald Trump lying right now about the Epstein files? Is the administration
In what
lying about
sense?
the Epstein files currently? Since they don't lie.
In what sense?
Like, were they working to
what
keep
sense?
were they working to keep them from the American people?
They tried to release a bunch of it, but got blocked by judges.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. So why did Donald Trump?
That was
they-
literally what you said earlier. Why Biden couldn't release them is because
yes,
judges and
but
legalities.
that's
So
a totally
what's the
different.
difference?
But that's because it's a totally
Oh,
different.
it's different when Biden does it, but not okay. Well,
So
okay,
let me
good
ask you a
argument.
question then. If that's the case, why did he try and convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition?
Just a dumb red herring.
Because you can't answer it. Why did he try and?
Can I ask you a question?
Hold on. No, answer mine. Why did he try and convince Republicans not? I'm not done. I have about 5 different things I can give you right now. Just him trying to keep it
I
from
answered
you.
that question.
If
The
they're
dumb red
being
herring.
if they're being transparent with the American people. By the way, Ollivander, thank you so much to all the MAGAs out there. What will you say at the pearly gates? Good luck explaining this, your inner thoughts to St. Peter. They will never be seeing the pearly gates. But listen, you said, why did he try and convince Republicans not to sign up to the discharge petition? Can you just tell me?
Because it's a red herring. I already answered that.
So he tried. So then, why did he support it when it was going through the House? Why does he support it now? Then why did he sign it?
And Trump likes to look like the good guy. I won't disagree that that's a bad look.
So how do you know what's in it? How do you know? How do you know that's the case?
I don't know what's in it, but I know
So
it's
then
not
why?
going to be everything.
Then
because
how do you know
now
why he
what
did
I'm-
that?
So you
Why
don't
did
trust
Donald
the
Trump
government
send?
blowing up drug boats, but you do trust the government when they
Listen,
release
if
files that are
you
gonna be
you just
heavily
said the
redacted.
Epstein files are a distraction. I'd like to check your
They
hard
are.
drive. If you think they're a distraction, it's because you probably need your hard drive checked. But I just want to ask you furthermore. I want
ad hom.
let's delve into that. It's not an ad hom. Anyone who's told me the Epstein files are a distraction is
just
creepy.
accuse me of being a child pedo.
So listen. You want to keep them from the American people because you think they're a distraction. That's sick.
I don't care.
You don't care about the over
there's not gonna be
1,000
anything in
survivors that you don't care about the over 1,000 survivors that want them released?
You're reframing my argument again. But
You said you
I
don't care.
about the
So that
victims.
way that means you don't care
I don't
about the
care about the
survivors.
files.
So let me ask
I
you a
don't care about
question.
the files.
Why did
Nothing's
Donald
gonna
Trump
happen.
Let me ask you a question. Why did Donald Trump send Ghislaine Maxwell or send Todd Blanche? You know who Todd Blanche is, right?
He's Trump's lawyer, personal lawyer who's acting as some sort of White House legal counsel.
He's the deputy attorney general of the country. Okay.
Okay.
Why did
I'm
Trump
close.
send? Well, you should know that. Why did he send him to go sit down with Ghislaine Maxwell after he said we should stop talking about Epstein, but only when he found out the Oversight Committee was going to subpoena her testimony? I'm just curious. Why do you think that occurred? If it's just a distraction, right? And there's no real information in there. Why would you go to the trouble of sending your deputy attorney general to sit down with an already convicted sex offender quid pro quo?
Well, you said the quid pro quo. That's debatable, but
No, it's
why
not.
would you send
No,
the
it's not.
deputy DOJ attorney to ask a
How is it debatable?
suspect or criminal?
It's not debatable. She was moved days later to a minimum security dorm in Camp Bryan, Texas. What
I'm not
did-
debating what happened. I'm debating whether it's a quid pro quo. I mean,
it absolutely
don't
is.
have
What
proof
new
of that.
information did we get out of that testimony?
I don't know because it's sealed.
Really,
Do you know
it
what
is?
new information we got?
Really, it's sealed?
Has Todd Blanchard's
Really?
been released to the public?
Really, it's sealed. So you can't go listen to it? You can't go listen to what she said about Trump, coincidentally? You need to do some research.
They've released some of the information.
The only
Can you listen
information.
to everything?
There's not an ongoing there wasn't an ongoing investigation until Donald Trump most recently launched an investigation into his perceived political opponents and their relationship with Epstein. But that's because there's a provision in the bill that allows the Department of Justice to redact information that pertains to an ongoing investigation. The point I'm asking you here is, why did Donald Trump say it's a hoax? To deny it's quid pro quo is fucking hilarious, by the way. Hilarious that that's what you just said. But he says, stop talking about it. He says Epstein's dead. And the Oversight Committee says, we're going to subpoena her testimony. Why would you send your Deputy Attorney General to go sit down with Ghislaine Maxwell before she testifies in front of the Oversight Committee? Can you give me the most, logical, reasonable, simplest explanation you can, please?
They wanted to see if she was going to say things that maybe she had not
Good boy.
or were not previously in the past.
Good boy. And why would they do that?
For a few different reasons.
No, you know the reason. You're going to be honest? You're going to be honest for the audience? Why would they do that, sweetheart?
Well, I'll give you the answer you want, which is to provide cover for Trump.
Right.
But they're also trying to be getting ahead of the story for other reasons.
So then furthermore, why would you need to get
The
ahead of a
DOJ.
story that in no way implicates you? Why would you try? Listen, you're
head of DOJ.
interfering. You're interfering with an ongoing investigation from the Oversight Committee. Should be impeached for that. Todd Blanche should
The
resign
Oversight
for
Committee
that.
They have no legal authority.
Why?
The Oversight Committee has no legal authority to bring criminal
It
charges.
doesn't.
So
It doesn't
your
matter.
term
The
of
point is you're
investigation
interfering.
Is not the same as DOJ.
I didn't say the Oversight Committee could do it. I'm telling you that you're interfering with an ongoing investigation to conceal information from the American public. Why do you think coincidentally
That's
she
your
was?
interpretation of it.
It is. It's the only reason. What do you mean my interpretation? Please tell me you're just a MAGA lover and you're not this dense. What's the reason that you do that? And then explain to me why she was moved days later to a minimum security prison in Camp Bryan, Texas. Not even a prison, a dorm, where we've now found out she's receiving preferential treatment, customized meals. She has a therapy dog. She's been issued private workout sessions, technology. You think this is a coincidence? But I
Maybe she's
forgot.
in bad health. I don't know.
I forgot. You trust your government. Listen, you're everything wrong with the country. You're the reason these people exist and the corruption is the way it is. Because of your trust for these corrupt politicians.
Like Stacey Plaskett.
Yeah, fuck her too. Straight up.
Okay, well, I don't like her.
I don't
So,
care. And but again,
responsible because I've never voted for her, and she's a Democrat. I don't like any Democrat. So
and
I'm
Stacey
responsible for
Plaskett's,
that.
but in Stacey Plaskett's, just to clarify, because it's still a false equivalency.
So now you're going to defend people who take money from pedos. Now you're pedo defender.
No,
Watch yourself.
I just said fuck her 5 seconds
Oh
ago.
no, she took. Well, now you're going to say.
And
what were you going to say?
I'm going to make sure that Shat understands that she didn't engage in abuse, because it's important when we're having these discussions to give
Just took money
accurate
from an
descriptions.
abuser.
It's still a false equivalency, because in Trump's case, we're talking about directly participating in that category of crime. In terms of ethics,
What
yeah.
proof do you have of that?
Because, okay, there's a number of reasons, but let me please explain this first. The first aspect, right, is that, or the first issue is that Stacey Plaskett returned the donation when he was arrested 6 months later, whatever that is. She texts with a lot of people, according to her office, not defending it, but she's texting with a bunch of different people. She should be held accountable for accepting a donation from someone who was already convicted of a sex-related crime. And so should every Democrat and every Republican that associated with him, knowingly associated with him, after he committed that category of crime. I don't care about party politics surrounding this particular issue. Whatsoever do I care. And I'm honestly saying that. See,
So
the
why
difference
was she
is,
not held accountable?
well, you're the only one defending a politician. Do you notice how I can say, fuck that person, or I don't care, get him out of there, and you're still, like, giving Trump the benefit of the doubt? And, like, in terms of
Because
Ghislaine
there's a
Maxwell,
difference
just
between proof and conjecture.
go ahead. Sorry, what'd you say? What did
Well,
you say?
it's a proven fact. Stacey Plaskett received money from Epstein and gave him sweetheart deals while she was working in the local government of Virgin Islands for tax
Correct,
reasons.
but-
That's proven, all correct.
Correct.
She was not
No one
held
denied that.
accountable during the censure. The
No one
Democrats
denied that.
and some Republicans, I agree. Both parties are not good. I agree.
No one denied that.
But
I was simply
she
laying
was
out
not
for you
held
it's a false.
accountable.
Okay, and she needs to be. But what I'm simply saying is it's a
But she
false
wasn't.
equivalency. I need to make sure that I explain to people when you just say Stacey Plaskett and you don't go into detail what we're talking about in terms of like ethics, right? And directly participating in that category of crime, it's a false equivalency and it needs to be laid out for the people listening. Now, to explain
she
just
was hooking up him and talking to him after the fact, well after she knew or should
I've
have
already
known
said
he was a sex
held.
offender.
I've already.
So
guy,
I don't.
why are you so stuck on this? You're not going to get me to
Why are you
defend
so
people
stuck on Trump being a pedophile with no
because
proof? I
you're
don't know either.
defending it. I'm not. What the fuck don't you
I'm
understand?
not defending it.
Yes, you are. You
What
just
proof do you
denied.
have?
Oh my God!
What proof do you have?
So first of all, let's be clear: the 2011 emails contradict what Ghislaine Maxwell said about Trump to Todd Blanche, and this was brought up in the press conference. Like, now that he has that information, is he going to throw out that testimony and/or have a follow-up deposition where she can further clarify why she claims she never saw him in a private setting? You're the one, you're going to sit up here and tell me you're not defending Trump now after this entire conversation? You want me to defend Democrats because you want to make this about Democrat and Republican. It's not about Democrat and Republican. I don't care about party affiliation. They all should be held accountable. Guy, listen, you're disingenuous, my guy. You really are. I don't defend people because of their party affiliation when it comes to this category of crime, and you shouldn't either.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Based
okay.
off
All
party
right. Yeah,
affiliation.
you're not. Have a good day. You're not. You're not. You fucking are. You just denied to me. You just did not. You literally said Donald Trump was trying to convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition because it's a distraction. Do you forget what you said 5 minutes ago? You said he tried to convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition because it's a distraction. What a disingenuous muppet.
Call from
Say your name when you call in. Geez, it's remarkable to me how people want to make this about politics. I don't give a fuck.
Call from
Leila Castellano.
Grow up, dude. Grow up. This is about one thing and one thing only. And this is about corruption in our government at a high level. And if we don't expose these people, we can't move forward as a country. Anyone who makes this about party politics is a chud. Let me be super clear. This is not a party politic issue. We need transparency. We need the truth. Less corruption. And yeah, if that's going to involve getting Democrats out of office, I'm not here to defend them.
Call from
Javier.
Javier, what's going on? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir, I am. But I was listening to your conversation, actually, the one just now with the guy previously, and a lot of the things started to intrigue me a little bit, so I kind of wanted to, inform myself a little bit. You seem pretty knowledgeable. I'd like to...
What's your
test my
stance
beliefs
on it?
and such.
What's your stance on it? I'm not here to have I mean, if you want to inform yourself on it, I recommend you
which
educate yourself or watch the live. I'm more or less trying to have debates, but what's your stance on it? Let's talk.
Well, I voted with him and supported him because I thought he was more on like the people's side. I will admit this term though, it seems like it's not the same Trump. However, what do you call it? I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
I'm just asking you what your stance
But
is
the
on
things
it.
with the Venezuelan and such, what specifically? I'm sorry, my nerves kind of threw me
Well,
off.
I'll explain to you my stance when it comes to this particular issue, outside of just the fact that a right to life would guarantee due process in that argument. I don't believe that ultimately you can fix the issue with drugs in this country, which is significant, especially as it relates to fentanyl. But the market is upheld by a lack of health care. The market is upheld by untreated substance use disorder, which we know is a disease with genetic predisposition. And people suffering from substance use disorder is what upholds the market. These are people using heroin, fentanyl, whatever you want to call it. And it's because they are suffering from a disease, an illness. They're sick. They're physically dependent beyond that. And I think that I look at it like a supply and demand issue, right? You can attack this supply all day. If you don't treat the demand, right, then you'll never fix the problem. And we constant criminal punishment at the supply issue and target people participating in trafficking these substances, right? But we never look at the fact that the people who are suffering from substance use disorder are upholding the market. And that is quite literally due to, lack of harm reduction policies and lack of health care, right? Things like safe injection sites and so on.
Dude, you're making way too much sense. I don't really think I'm the right one to debate you.
All right, man. Take
I'm
care.
agreeing on a lot of this. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, listen, I talk about this a lot. You can tune in, but thanks
Yeah,
for
you
calling
too,
in,
you
man.
too. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Take care, buddy. Be well. Let's see. What time is it? 6:15. Yeah, I've always felt that because what the government relies on to deal with this issue is deterrence theory, right? Swiftness, severity, and certainty. Swift, harsh criminal punishment deters people from committing future crime. And I don't think that giving people long prison sentences, or in Trump's case, wanting to sentence them to death, and I'm talking about here in the United States, for trafficking these substances, ultimately results in deterring people from committing this crime. That's why the problem continues to get worse. And I think that, when you really look at it, the reason we have these issues are because we're not treating the people who are actively suffering from the disease that upholds the market, right? I mean, like, people they don't have access to affordable treatment. Safe injection sites have been overwhelmingly successful in countries like Canada. The United States has been implementing them as of recently. In fact, it was a topic of discussion in the New York City mayoral debates, and I am totally in favor of those. Right? These are harm reduction strategies, right? To lower the rate of overdose, to stop the spread of disease by providing clean paraphernalia, of safe injection sites in these areas that suffer from problems with drug addiction, with substance use disorder, is a decrease in overdose deaths, is less disease, and more people voluntarily entering treatment. And furthermore, just additionally, in regards to voluntarily introducing people to treatment, people have an increased rate of success when they enter treatment voluntarily. When you force people into treatment, which was part of a policy proposal under Agenda 47 in Trump's platform, ultimately, sure, maybe you temporarily get them clean, but you don't ultimately keep them clean, right? Their rate of success long term decreases significantly if they're forced into treatment. I wish they focused more on policies and political and history stuff. I don't know what you're talking about, Jan. Nightshade, someone living in the South. Unfortunately for a lot of people, this. I don't know why, if you're referring or if you're talking to someone else or whatever. What does it say if Israel and Russia want Trump in office? Yeah, Ollivander. So, look, I mean, again, like, supporting Israel is a long-standing U.S. foreign policy, so I don't think that's particular to Trump, although I think Trump supports Israel more than previous administrations. I think he pulls the chair out for Netanyahu, essentially. And we saw that with dropping bunker busters on their enrichment facilities rather than advocating for a diplomatic solution. But Russia is a different story, and look, again, you can look at this 28-point peace plan. That is quite literally Russia's wish list, and that tells you all you need to know. Guys, if you're new here, I would really appreciate hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notification bell. If you guys do like these political discussions, I would appreciate doing those things. I don't want to burn myself out here. I've been on here 115 minutes already, so that's what I usually try and do, 120, and we're here, so we're coming to the end here. Would appreciate you guys did enjoy the live. I'd appreciate spamming ones in the chat. If you guys did enjoy the live tonight, I would appreciate spamming ones in the chat. I did not stream on TikTok this morning. I will be streaming on TikTok tomorrow morning, though. So if you are a TikTok person and you watch me on TikTok, I will be streaming tomorrow morning and debating and talking politics and going over everything to do with Russia and Ukraine, specifically tomorrow morning. So I'd appreciate hitting the subscribe button. Enjoy the show, man. Wouldn't be calling today, but I'm subbed. Thank you so much, Hyper. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Hyper. Appreciate you, buddy. Glad you enjoy it. How you going? How you going? Braxton, you call the number when the live is going on, so I'd appreciate it, Braxton. Thank you so much. I'm new here, and I like you. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much. But yeah, I love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful night. This is a holiday week, so we are going to obviously be streaming up until Thanksgiving. I don't know how many people got their tree up yet. Turn on a little Christmas movie tonight. It'll put you in a good mood. Separate yourself from politics a little bit and put on a Christmas movie. This is my first time I heard you, and I am in agreement with you. Totally. God bless you. Thank you so much. I hate devil followers. Thank you for following. I appreciate you. E Green, thank you. Desi, thank you. Empathy, what's going on? Thanks. Appreciate you. Tiller, what's going on? Thank you for coming today. Sweet Melissa, thank you for subscribing, Sweet Melissa. Appreciate you so much. You have your tree up? Nice. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I appreciate you. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you here again tomorrow. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out, and make sure you hit the bell. Okay, so that way you guys know when I go live, or you will miss my lives. I discovered you by pure accident. I'm sub now. Thank you so much, Janelle. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok, too. Same name, Adam Cray. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok if you guys do like this content. If you're on TikTok, you don't have to, but if you're on TikTok, you can follow me there, and as well on Instagram, adam.cray. I'll type my Insta in the chat here. That's my username on Insta. You'll see it has like 20,000 followers or something. I just started it this year. Just started posting on it this year. So take care, everybody. Be well.